A PNP is a pediatric nurse practitioner.
We can diagnose, treat, prescribe, just like a doctor would, but with the touch of a nurse.
Kids A to C with the PNP. L is for lead poisoning.
Hi everyone, welcome to Kids A to Z with the PNPs.
Where each week we take a closer look at some of the common health problems affecting our kids.
And we're your hosts. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Dominique.
And today we're going to talk about the letter L.
And L is for lead poisoning or lead toxicity.
Yeah, so lead has been in the news quite a bit recently, and so we thought it was an important topic to talk about today. Actually, the state of Michigan considers all children in the city of Detroit to be at risk for lead poisoning. So what is lead poisoning?
So lead is a metal and it's toxic to everyone. Kids are more at risk for having lead toxicity or poisoning because it's absorbed more easily into their blood.
But anybody can get lead poisoning?
Yeah, yes.
So lead poisoning is especially concerning in kids because it can affect their mental and physical health as they're developing.
So how do kids get lead poisoning?
So there are several ways that kids can get lead poisoning. Mainly, especially in the city of Detroit, there are a lot of older homes, and any home built before the year 1978 probably has lead-based paint somewhere in the layers of paint in the home. So lead-based paint was actually banned in 1978, but if there is peeling paint in the home and the kids eat the paint chips, which sounds gross, but really happens. Lead actually has kind of a sweet taste to it. So if there's peeling paint, kids eat the paint chips. That's like the number one way that kids get lead poisoning. We hear a lot on the news about, about water, and you can definitely get lead poisoning from, lead in pipes, but most commonly it comes from lead-based paint chips.
Also, older toys that were from, like grandmas always like to share their older toys that they had when their kids were younger and maybe giving them to the new baby. But they also used to use lead-based paint on children's toys. So if you have an older toy or grandma gives an older toy, maybe say no thank you, because kids will obviously would take that toy and put it in their mouth. And if it tastes sweet from old paint, they're ingesting lead.
It puts them at risk. So like we mentioned, lead-based paint isn't necessarily banned in other countries. So if you have like ceramics, bowls, any kind of like food storage containers that may be glazed or painted with lead, and you're using those to eat from or to cook your food, the lead can actually leach into the food and you can ingest the food that way. Also, other countries, they use lead to seal like their cans, so that's another way that you can get it.
Lead also is found in soil and around a lot of major urban areas, around the big highways, dirt, sometimes even the dirt up against your house as well. So if kids are playing in that area, they can also ingest lead through that soil.
Right, and there are some cosmetics, jewelry, a lot of like you mentioned, kids' toys, things that are imported from other countries may also contain lead.
So how do we know when a child's had lead poisoning or has been exposed to lead? Your pediatrician does routine testing for lead levels at age 1 and age 2 at their well visits.
Mm-hmm. So symptoms of lead toxicity are not super easy to pick out, and they're usually actually like late symptoms. By the time your child is showing any of these signs, it's likely that the lead levels are pretty high. So that's why it's important to have your pediatrician screen them for lead. But symptoms of lead toxicity are developmental delays, learning disabilities, abdominal pain, vomiting, weight loss, hearing loss, seizures, and something that we call pica. Pica is when your child may want to eat like non-food items. Most common things that we see are like dirt, obviously paint chips, chalk, things that you normally wouldn't eat. That's usually an indicator of lead poisoning.
So the number one treatment is actually prevention for lead poisoning. So washing your child's hands after they've been out playing, washing your child's hands before they eat, and washing their toys frequently.
Yeah, and also making sure that you dust regularly. If there is lead-based paint somewhere in your walls and that paint is peeling, it can leave little remnants that kids can pick up on their hands, they put in their mouth. So making sure to wipe down your windowsills with like a damp cloth to get any of these particles, and making sure you dust your house regularly.
And just keeping good upkeep on your house. So if you do have a lot of peeling paint, painting over that paint so it's sealed.
Yeah, or you can even use like masking tape or contact paper if you have like a particularly bad area. Truthfully, like trying to remove a layer of lead paint from your home is not an easy thing to do. That layer is likely under several other layers that have been painted over and over and over. And it can actually like release more lead into the air because they have to dust all those layers of paint off. So truthfully, instead of removing that layer of paint, it can sometimes be easier just to make sure that there's not chipping or peeling paint on top of it.
Also, after your kid's been playing outside, making sure they've taken off their shoes, or when people come over and you have young kids, having them take off their shoes when they come into the house, because you can, if you were walking through soil that was carrying dirt and lead particles, you don't want that traipsing through your house.
So if you live in an older home with older plumbing that you're concerned may contain lead, the best practice is to let the cold water run through the faucet for at least a minute before using it, and then never use hot or warm water from the tap to make like baby formula or to consume.
Eating a healthy diet can also prevent absorption of lead. So making sure your child has a well-rounded diet with calcium and iron can prevent actually the absorption of lead. So I think the saying goes, well-fed,
less lead.
Less lead.
And if you have concerns about lead in your home and you want to have it checked, you can always call your local health department and they can come out and do an evaluation. So again, routine lead testing at 1 and 2 years by your pediatrician. Another reason why those well visits are so important. If your child's lead is elevated, lead level is elevated, we do have a lead clinic here at the hospital. It's actually across the street from the hospital at our specialty center that we would be happy to help. I think that about wraps it up.
Wraps up everything for lead. So if you guys have any questions, any comments, please feel free to email us at kidsA-to-Z@dmc.org. Comment here, share this video, let us know what you think.
Yeah, and so next week we will be talking about
the letter M, and M is for mental health.
Mental health. So we'll see you then.
Thanks for watching.